Welcome to another episode of the Fat Cats Rugby podcast. My name is Ruben Kihumuro, and here with the Fat Cats, Joseph Dungu and Kunda Caesar, who is going up the ranks and really becoming a regular. And we have a particularly special guest, but before we go into introducing our guest for today, gentlemen, Fat Cats, how have your last 7 days been? Give us a little bit of what you guys have been up to. What has made you happy? Last week you were sad because England lost by 50. They lost again on the weekend. They got a red card, so it doesn't look very good for English rugby. So guys, what have you guys been up to?
Well, some young ladies called us out for being very serious on our podcast. I don't know whether they expected us to make as much noise. I don't know, but no, the week went well. The week went well, really. I didn't watch a lot of England rugby, but life, I was away on vacation, and it was good. Yeah.
It's great. Joseph, you've been MIA for a couple of weeks.
Meetings.
After causing so many headlines, then you disappear from people like that, man. Where have you been? First tell us, man.
Bro, I've been looking for money,
Uh-huh.
but money has been eluding me. I can't believe it. Like, man, Kampala, I think the K in Kampala should switch to B to mean Bampala for business. Guys, and recently I saw, one of my friends sent me a text.
Mm-hmm.
So you see how there are threads on Twitter and people keep posting, quoting with beautiful photos of themselves.
Mm.
My friend sent me a photo, and I was like, Then he's like, my bro, don't forget, the love in Kampala, love in Kampala is a business. So I was like, man, that's true. Anyway, I missed being here, and when I entered and came back for the podcast, I felt fresh. I felt like, I'm back for it. So I'm happy to be here.
Oh, okay. That's very, very
I
interesting.
also want to appreciate Dungo for the space, the work he does with the space.
Oh, yeah.
He does really well, and
those that are
people
not
appreciate
familiar.
in their own way. They keep appreciating, and I like
Anyway,
to thank him
Shout
for.
outs to that person who
Yeah,
sends
yeah.
weird
that-
texts.
we-
keep it at that. You know yourself.
Anyway, for those that are not aware, we also have Monday Spaces on Twitter. So on top of the podcast, we keep giving you all the information that you will ideally need to be in the know of what's happening in rugby and around rugby every Monday, on top of the podcast that comes out weekly. But at this point, Caesar, I'd like to give you the floor so that you introduce our guest for today. He's not an ordinary gentleman. That is why I feel like maybe we just give a little bit of introduction, and if we have missed anything, then he can supplement.
rectify, yeah. Well, with us today we have Dr. Paul Sekate. He has very many titles, so let me first use the one of doctor, then I'll explain later. Dr. Paul Sekate is a medical doctor by profession, but he's also an officer of the armed forces, so he's called Captain Dr. Paul Sekate. But he also happens to be a Salongo, so I'm adding an extra accolade. It's called Salongo Captain Dr. Paul Sekate. Well, talk about Paul Sekate. Sekate is a rugby player with Cobs, plays for Cobs, but he's rare because of the kind of work he does. But he plays for Cobs. He has played for Mongers. He played Condom Series with one of the Condom teams. I don't remember which one exactly. He was in SMACK from 2006 to 2011. Captained the school team. Joined the school team in his S3. He has coached SMACK Rugby. He coached SMACK Rugby, I think, from around 2012, 2013, if I'm not mistaken. He has won Schools League with SMACK twice, together with
The Nationals.
the Nationals. He has also won the Nationals, yes. Yeah, he won the Nationals in 2019, together with Ivan Magom, Anang.
But guys, I wonder if Sekate will have anything to say after such an
Anyway,
elaborate
yeah.
bio.
So that's Paul Sekate. The rest he can add on as time.
Oh, yeah. So let's just give you the floor a little bit. Is there anything that we should know that has been missed in regards to who you are?
Not really. I'm Paul Sekate by name. I'm a doctor, a captain of the armed forces, a Salongo by family. Yeah, basically that's about me. For the rugby, he has been very elaborate. Having been ahead of me, he's actually the one who introduced me to the game.
Oh, okay.
He was our coach. We were in senior 1. He was in senior 2.
Well done.
Caesar was our
Well
coach.
done.
Introduced us to the game. And how I got into rugby, it was that evening I went for rugby. So being an amateur, I was handed off. So when I got that handoff, it bothered me a lot. So I had to go back to the pitch every day to look for that person to revenge. But every day, the passion kept growing. So I had to forego the revenge. And I started enjoying the sport. And from that day, I didn't look back.
So basically, this is a very unique situation. It is revenge that kept you going, and then all of a sudden, the revenge turned into something else.
Yeah.
But I think when I look at you, one of my vivid memories was a sevens tournament at Namiliango.
Yes.
I don't know if it was the final or a semi-final, where you scored a try against us. And I keep telling people Yoya was particularly stubborn, a thorn in us and also our seniors, Justin Kimono and Joseph Aredo at the time.
Yes.
But maybe just starting from that particular instance, tell us a little bit about rugby in SMACK. The last time we had Mr. Bizimana here, we talked about rugby in general, but then we really dialed down on Namiliango. So now we want to really understand how rugby was in SMACK. Because from our end, my end in particular, my bias about SMACK would be that all I know is a bunch of guys who are usually in very multicolored jerseys, smelling like deep heat, and usually short and stout, in my opinion, apart from a few like Kasule and who else. But anyway, enough of what I've said. Let us know about rugby in SMACK. Paint a picture for us.
Rugby in SMACK is a culture. It's a culture. It's a passion that you find in the college. It's that sport that is talked about. So when you walk into the college, everyone will be talking about rugby. So you find out that yourself, you're forced, as in that talk about the sport just drives everyone crazy about the game. And I can tell you, without rugby, I think there is no sport in SMACK.
Okay.
Yeah, it's everyone's passion. Be it a footballer, be it a basketballer, at least once in a week, you find each of them gets time to touch the rugby ball. So you'll find even our boys that we used to play are multi-talented. He's a basketballer, but he's into rugby. He's a footballer, but he's into rugby. Why? Because of the passion. It becomes so natural in us that as soon as you get there, it's what the college is about. Besides academics, the next big thing in SMACK is rugby.
Yeah, interesting that you've talked about academics.
I mean, you guys have been going on and on, but Sekate, when I look at you, you look more Ngonian than Smackist. Because to me, you give off Ngonian vibes. I don't know, is it because we click so much? But that's for you. What do you think?
What's Ngonian vibes?
Yeah,
I mean,
very good question.
a Ngonian vibe is what he's cool, gentle. When he goes wild, he can, but tempt. Like, I knew the old Sekate, but right now, man, don't ask me those questions. Anyway, Sekate, what made you join the armed forces? Tell us about the armed forces. Do you have a Glock on around your waist right now?
Uzi.
I didn't carry one, but at least
What?
I have something for identification.
What?
Dog tags. It's a
Yes,
movie.
You carry your dog tag everywhere. So, to join the forces, having grown up in Entebbe, I used to look at previously the PGB. At the way they are smart, the way they are dressed. They have pistols everywhere. And it looked cool to me. So I always felt like I should join the armed forces. Basically, I always wanted to protect the president. I'm being honest. It's a childhood dream. So after my degree of medicine, I felt it was the perfect time for me to join. And that's how I ended up in the forces.
So tell us. So you joined the forces. What struck you first? Okay, what hit you first? You're like, okay, this is real. Is this what I signed up for?
Okay, when I joined,
Because you were a normal civilian, more so a medical resident at the time.
the first day in training, it looked like those movies of Vietnam, where you're seeing so many people in a camp. Hair has been, as in you chop hair, Shaolin. You chop hair, as in it strikes you hard at first. So if you don't take the decision on your own and own it, no one should entice you to join the forces. You take the decision on your own and you own it, because sometimes it gets hot. Exactly the way you see rugby training. Some days are okay, some days are hard. Some days the coach zeroes on you. Now, like for my position,
Yes. What's your position?
I hope it is
It is okay for you to tell us.
reveal.
If it's
it
not
is
okay,
not,
you can just
it's
keep
fine.
playing Bambi, don't-
so
You know he can zero down on me. So I should just be careful. when
so
I ask.
sometimes it really gets hard,
Mm,
but it's the passion.
yeah.
It's the reason. What brought you here? Did you come here willingly, or were you forced? Were you enticed? Did you take the decision on your own? So just that inner zeal, that inner force within you keeps you going. Because some days are hard, some days are simple. It's just like daily life.
But when they were mentioning your titles, I think one thing ran through my mind. I just imagine like on a form. How long does the space have to be for you to, like a bank form, for instance, to fill
To put all those
to fill
titles.
your titles out before even your name?
No, some, of course, for official documents, we go official.
Mm.
So you find yourself just CAPT, DR, all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
So
back to
So
yeah. That's something
So
you wanted to say?
cool.
So cool, eh?
Yeah.
So it's
The way-
actually right to call you Captain Dr. Paul Sekate.
That's me.
Does your wife
100%.
call you
Guys,
Captain Dr.
We have a
Salome?
shooter in the house.
You
We
know?
have a shooter. Someone who's shot at people. Someone who's... You've saved lives, right? On the front line.
Sure.
Is
There's
the
this
doctor
movie of a
double
guy,
sending.
Telling God, one more what? One
Hacksaw
more...
Ridge.
Yeah, Hassel Ridge. Do you feel like you're Hassel Ridge at times?
I'm not, I love to be honest, I'm not so much of a movie maniac.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So,
You're a real life guy.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
He's a shooter.
Anyway,
Shooter.
they now from that point of you joining rugby in SMACK to the point where you let go of the guy that handed you off. We'd like to thank him wherever he is, and then it becoming a passion. How did you get onto the school team? I don't know about how SMACK operates, but getting onto anchors in a Miliango, in O level, is very hard. You have to be exceptional. And now for you, you reached a point and you became a captain. Maybe you can just walk us through that journey.
So after developing the passion, I had a brother in the same class. Actually, my brother was better than me at that time.
Okay.
He was a fullback. So when we used to sleep in the same dormitory. So when we would go back, we would talk about the day. How was today? We'll tell you, it was a bit hard, but we push on tomorrow. So he kept pushing me. So when we joined Form 2, he joined the under-16 team. At that time, I'd not been selected. I felt bad, but he encouraged me to work harder. He was a very good tackler because I remember in his Form 2, he did something that we called spectacular. When Heathens came, they came with the likes of Scott, I think Matthias Ochoa, Alex Mobiru. So Scott ran through because of his big muscles and everything. The young boys gave way.
Like, not today.
Yes. So my brother was the last man. And he tackled Scott. I was amazed. So somehow, I think I lacked one thing in me. I lacked courage. But that was a point when I got the courage.
Yeah.
I realized that it's not about the strength, it's about the technique. So we had to focus on that technique. So we kept doing that. By Form 3, when they were selecting the combination of Form 5 and Form 3 to play against Form 4, Form 6, still I was not selected. I asked the coach, why? I feel I'm training hard enough. Why didn't you select me? He told me I was small to play my position. So Form 3 was more like a food marathon.
Which position was that?
I've been front row all through.
Okay.
I just switched a bit. When I played in Mongas, that's when I played the back row. But I've been front row all through. So I had a food marathon. I had to put on weight. Hook or crook. I had to put on weight. So by the time I joined Form 4, I'd gained weight. Actually, everyone thought I'd used supplements, but I've never touched a supplement. I'd gained weight. By the time I joined Form 4, I was 86 kilograms.
That's a lot
Nice, cool.
in Form 4.
Form 4.
So, Form 4...
There's players in the league that don't have 86 kgs.
Form
And
4
they play
still...
front
In the front row.
But it's okay.
Form 4 still, the very early days of the league, I was coming on as a substitute. So one day it so happened that there was a bit of a misunderstanding in the school between the players and our coach then, Mr. Mutebi. So he dropped some senior players. We were going to play against Komboni College era. So he selected some of us. We took on the mantle. We went to Komboni College. So in Komboni, that's where I realized that I was actually a good guy. So it so happened that that's where they nicknamed me Chuma, meaning metal, from that game. Because I was tackled by two guys. Two guys tackled me, but they both fell down, and I remained running to score my try. So that moment brought more confidence into me, and I never looked back. That year I played the final, which was against London College.
Oh yeah, that's 2009.
Yes, that we won very well. I came back in Form 5, still played. Form 6, we had the emergence of Hannah, which had shoved players from everywhere. It had quality players. And I remember that time, the semi-final, when we were going to play Hannah. All the odds were against us. I remember that New Vision Sports column against that game. It would have discouraged anyone who wanted to go in for that game. But actually, that was our source of strength. Because I remember that time Hannah had Daroni Mosokes, who they were saying was a national team player and is again in schools league. They had Philip Wokorach. They had Bijik. They had this Kenyan.
Ivan moved.
Yeah, he had.
They had Ivan.
Chisanga.
They had Chisanga.
Team was good.
Yeah. You are scarce.
So they had a couple of very, very good rugby players.
Yeah.
So we go into that game, and people were confused. Which one is SMACK? Which one is Hannah? Because I think that day we schooled Hannah.
Yeah, he really did.
We schooled Hannah. It was just a moment of lack of concentration, and maybe one of our players got a yellow card, and they exploited that time
Yeah.
and took the lead. That game ended 17-15 with us missing a drop goal in the last, a conversion in the last minute, which was also in front of the post.
Really?
Yes, but the pressure was quite too much for the kicker, who failed to convert. So that's how I ended my high school rugby as a captain. But as a captain, I felt I had not achieved, because I didn't win a trophy as a captain. So I felt it upon my shoulders to find a way to win a trophy for the college. So that's when I got into coaching. I started coaching in my Form 6 vacation.
I think before we go into the coaching bit of it,
Yes.
we'd just like to tell our viewers that right now we're at the Fred and Winnie B&B. Ideally, if you have some people coming from abroad, some people coming from up country, and you're looking for standard space where people can stay, this is the Fred and Winnie B&B. What you should know about the Fred and Winnie B&B is the 10 self-contained private bedrooms, a fully equipped kitchen, power backup system, Wi-Fi, laundry services, a chef to cater to you every meal, a sumptuous buffet breakfast with a choice of selected tropical fruits and juice. Pick up and drop off to and from Entebbe International Airport, as well as local transportation for getting around or up country trips can be arranged if booked in advance. For bookings, call 0778 933 559. And just tell them that a Fat Cat sent you for amazing discounts. So, gentlemen.
Guys, I've been looking at some birds shagging.
Mm-hmm.
Shagging in the trees. Anyway, so Sekate, back. I think I should ask you something related to that. So when you're in the army, are there babes who come to like train to become to become servants in the armed forces?
There are very many.
Very many. Do you guys shag them?
That's against the code of conduct, unless it's by mutual consent.
Or like, so if a chick is down, then you're good.
I think what he means is it allowed if it's consensual?
It depends. It's situational.
Okay.
So like in the morning,
No.
run, like you're supposed, because you guys have to do some kilometers in the morning, right?
It's situational. Training is training.
Yeah.
If you're in a training school, you respect the code of conduct
Yeah.
of the training school.
Mm.
If you're done with training and you meet an army personnel who is a female and you like her and you date, because being an army personnel doesn't stop the fact that you're human.
Yeah.
Yes. So if you like her, you can talk to her, you can date her.
So anyway, and no respect to you, man. I know you're married,
Yes.
but do
I
you
think
feel
you
like
meant no disrespect.
yeah, whatever that means. Anyway, do you feel like these chicks in the army are also have soft points? Like they allow for game. Like I can vibe them and they can allow, or they feel like she can slap me or like pull a Glock on me or some shit like that.
Not really. You're first a
You guys
human.
ever watch
Yeah.
movies?
I think that answers the question.
Yeah, sure. Anyway,
Yeah, you're first a human.
Caesar, give us your fondest or your most vivid memory about Paul Sekate.
Oh well, Paul Sekate, it was in, if I'm not mistaken, in our S6. I don't remember whether I was in school or not. We were playing at Legends. I think we were in school. It was against Namilyango, and we were at a rack. Correct me what game it was. We were at a rack in the middle of Legends. And you know how you go into a rack and you rack, and they're what they call pillars and an axe. So there was no axe. This guy picked a ball and ran from, was it the center or the 10? And they stopped him in the 22. That was the best moment I've ever had. A prop running that fast and beating people. That was my best moment. I think I was in S6.
Yeah, no. I think,
Oh,
yes, you were in Form 6.
You were in S5.
I was in Form 5.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we were playing Namilyango. I'll never forget.
Wasn't that moment in Ginger Independence Cup?
No,
No,
it was
Ginger
a
was a
legend.
different one because I remember
Because I also remember you broke the line against us
Ginger.
in Ginger Independence Cup.
I think that's the time I was actually enjoying high school rugby
Mm.
because I remember that's the game where we man-marked Kimono, and he actually got frustrated and he wanted to go jabs on me because of the hard tackles at that time. And from that time, we became very good friends. He's actually my very good friend.
Mm.
Yeah.
But
so
I think,
that was the
yeah,
Ango SMACK rivalry
mm,
is in blood.
Mm.
But the beauty about it, it ends on the pitch.
Yeah.
Off the pitch, it's brotherhood. On the pitch, it's time for
Yeah. I
but
believe.
maybe what I can say more
Mm.
about Sekate is leadership. Sekate, like you had, was a front rower all the time, but he always played sevens. I don't know why. But why I respect Sekate a lot was in our S6, my classmates in second term said they wanted to concentrate on mocks and of course life because we had played schools league. It was frustrating.
You guys like telling us that wait in November.
Yeah, frustrating and all that
when
stuff.
when the rugby refuses, you say wait in
Yes.
November.
So guys decided to read, and then me, I don't know what I was doing, but then I decided, you know what, let me try this coaching thing again. So I went to Mr. Mutebi, who was our patron then, but was still busy with Usra. So I told him, can I take over sevens? Now, I did not have a lot of knowledge about rugby sevens, but I believe you don't need to have knowledge of the game so much to be a manager. So I decided to just manage these boys. They were in S5, I was in S6, and a few of my classmates. And I just decided to take them on. I've played with my classmates. My best rugby year has always been the Kasozis, the year ahead of me in my entire life. But I've never seen a rugby team, a rugby class that had heart like the Sekate's year. And all that heart came from him. I'm telling you, like that the first time I saw a leader who was being followed by his own players who are also his classmates. That year, we won every circuit but the Namiliango circuit.
apart
Yeah.
from the Namiliango circuit.
Every circuit but the Namiliango circuit. And a moment to remember was Creamland. Creamland Namiliango came with its entire team. And these guys,
I remember.
and these
Creamland
guys,
very well.
they literally just threw their body into people. Like they tackle, they know Kishato is going to bash me. Was it Kishato? No. Yeah, he played.
Kish was on the lower team.
He was on a
Kish
lower
was not
team.
playing,
like
I think
like
sevens
he
that
knew that
time.
Justin was going to beat me, but let me put my body. Man, the whole team bled in that match. That's for one of my fondest. Like they had heart, and the heart came from their captain. Sekate would say something, and they would do it. Yet they were his classmates, and I respect that so much.
particular fight, I remember in Creamland, ended in a coin toss.
Ah,
Coin
sure.
toss, yeah.
Sekate,
Why is it that SMACK is always win coin tosses, man?
I guess you've won 1-2
They
in
won-
Ginger.
Sekate.
Yeah, you
So
won in
guys,
Ginger.
Sekate mentioned something about the Scott Lodge, Alex Mubiru guys coming over to SMACK. So I
Yes.
think play friendly game.
Mm.
Yes.
And from what I understand in rugby, there have been a couple of schools attached to certain clubs. Namiliango College has an attachment to Cobbs Rugby,
Yes.
just like King's College Budo has affiliation to Pirates, because you find that majority of the players that play for certain schools end up in a certain club, or
Yeah.
they go and assist with the coaching and passing on of skills. So, and Higgins was that school that, SMACK was that school that had an attachment with Heathens. How did that start and where did they lose it? Because it's not anymore that we see many SMACkists play for Heathens.
Okay. Why we decided to do away with such attachments? Because we felt it was healthy for our boys to make their own decisions
Yeah.
based on where they'll get playing time, based on where they see opportunities.
Yeah.
Because I would rather have a boy go to Impis for 2 seasons, he learns the dynamics of club rugby, then he steps up to a bigger club.
Here is my question, and not in any way to interrupt your progress on what you're saying.
Yes.
Do you believe such clubs like Impis or Rams are the best to groom a student who's just finished their high school rugby career and is now adjusting into club level, or you believe an atmosphere that has a couple of experienced players having international engagement and exposure can as well be the best environment to boost? What's your take on that?
Okay, mentorship. Mentorship is a two-way thing. You cannot mentor a player who is not having the hands-on, who is not getting the exposure of fire. So what we have to do, what I felt was important for the boys, because I think that ended as soon as I became the coach. That's when I started inviting Pirates, I invited Corps, I invited Heathens, I invited whichever club wanted to come and talk to the boys. Why? Because I always feel that decision is upon the boy.
Yeah.
I should not decide for the boy.
Well, again, you've talked of mentorship. I don't know if I'm making my point clear. So
I-
I'll make it clearer, and
Yes.
I'll not even give you an option of this or that.
Yes.
Here is the thing. Waliwo club, you're taina na bazanyi national team. You get what I mean?
Yes.
And you are literally the benchmark.
Yes.
You get what I mean?
Yes.
I have a classmate, Jordan Kinyera Emmanuel.
Mm.
Very good fullback, just like Koleb Nuagaba.
Yes.
Very good fullback, Kinyera Emmanuel.
Mm.
Beat Marcos in the semi-final. But Chinyera went to Rams, and Chinyera could afford to miss a few training sessions. But very good fullback. You get what I mean?
Okay.
Chinyera's form dipped. But I reckon if Chinyera had moved to a club like, say, Buffaloes or Rhinos, because I believe certain clubs teach rugby differently.
Okay, for rugby in Uganda,
Mm.
I have to be honest,
Mm-hmm.
it's individual.
It's individual.
I have to be honest.
It's you.
It's you. If you don't love the game to your marrow, you'll drop out easily. If
But-
you love rugby, like,
To the core.
To the
You
core.
can go an extra mile.
yes. Now, like the example you've given us of that young man,
Yeah.
even if he went to a big club, he would lose it. Why? Because he lacks focus.
Well, you make a valid point, I think.
Focus is individual. That's why you see, I'll use an example of football.
Yes.
Look at a team. Man U is my team. Look at a team like Man U. They get Ahmad and send him to Sunderland. And if he's playing good soccer in Sunderland, next season he will come back to Man U and be reintegrated into that team.
Yes.
If he's able to keep up with the pace of Man U, he will automatically stay at the club. So that's the same thing. Instead of us keeping players, piling players at a certain club, you'd rather spread them out.
That's
But
valid.
monitor
Yes.
Monitor.
So I
monitor
think-
your players.
I think when you speak of monitoring players, yes, Caesar, is it the right time we now talk about schools rugby and how it should be given much focus in Uganda? Because look at majority of the talents. I mean, who is the best rugby player in Uganda, Ruben?
Currently?
Playing in or out of Uganda
Oh,
currently.
Interesting. It must be, I would say, it's tricky.
Is it tricky?
Three people.
Yes, go ahead.
One, I would say, a forward, I would say Pius Ogena. Backs, I would say Philip Okorach and Timothy Kisiga.
Perfect. Do you agree with him?
100%.
Or you want to add like two players?
No, I'm okay with that.
Now, here's my question. Where did those players start out? I mean, you get what I mean?
Yes,
Look at
schools
Pius's
rugby.
career, okay? Look at how he has progressed through the various age grades he has played at, the schools he has played at. Look at Timothy Kisiga, you guys, Obi. I mean, this is not, I'm not far-fetched examples. Philip Okorach, if we invited him, if we gave him a phone call, he'll stress something. Sekate, what do you think schools rugby, what do you think the stone of schools rugby is on the development of the sport in the country? And where do you think it all goes wrong? Because we see a couple of talents. Schools rugby is going on at the moment. There are kids who are extremely exceptional, but they'll be lost along the way for whichever reason.
That's a very good question. Now, schools rugby is like the factory of rugby talent. And the values we instill into the boys right from schools will determine what they become finally. Schools are a bit limited in freedom, so you'll find that you can get the best out of a boy, whether it's a weekend or not weekend. But life outside school has a lot of freedom. So that's where we tend to lose most of the talent, the freedom, the exposure they get after being in high school. We tend to lose most of the talent. So,
Is that only where it's lost? Or there's also a bit to do with stakeholders not
now
managing?
I'm getting to that.
Uh-huh.
Now, the schools do churn out the talent. So, what happens after they leave high school? I think that's now when the union has to come in. Because as a union, they should be able to handpick every year, handpick a few players who you think can help in the development of your system, the national team system, the sevens system. Because if the boys come out and you leave them to roam at large without you following them up, they'll lose focus. That's when it goes back to mentorship. So it's still the union to bring our superstars, the likes of Philip Wokorach, Adrian Casito, Chisiga, Magom. Let them talk to the boys. Try to inspire. Be an inspiration to the boys. When they look at what you've achieved in life, they get motivated. But you find a boy gets out of school and he has never talked to any mentor. He has not been to any mentorship course.
I'll be honest with you guys. You've been at schools rugby games, right? In this current season. And I apologize for interrupting you. Have you seen any Uganda Rugby Union executive official at those games?
I feel like it's stakeholders. I'm sorry to say. I feel like it's stakeholders. And before I even attack the union, which I have anger for when it comes to schools league, it's all stakeholders. And who controls kids in high school? There's only one party that controls kids in high school. Parents. And I envy, and I say it again, I envy Namilyango, because Namilyango saw the light when it comes to rugby, and then they started giving it the measure and the respect that it deserves. You will find OBs involved. I don't know about other sports. I don't know about other sports, but you can see how Nakoba is so involved in their rugby. Decision making of Nakoba, in as far as rugby is related, also what? Like it influences. Yeah. Now a parent, a Namilyango parent, it's rare to find, and even if you find, like let's say Sekate was in Namilyango, and then the mom says Sekate can't play because of school. I don't want him to play rugby. You will find an OB from nowhere will go and pay Sekate's mom a visit at work and say, what is the problem? Can't we help Sekate deal with the encumbrances at school? Or balance. You get my point. Let's start from that. School needs to do a little bit more. Like talk to parents, OBs of these schools. Talk to parents, because our biggest hurdle in school is parents. Once parents accept their kids to play, and also some time back, we went for an USRA meeting. Sekate sent me there because he wasn't available. And I asked them, the biggest issue parents have with their kids playing rugby in high school, one is medical, like how safe are they? Two is school, like balancing school and rugby. I told them, can't we find a balance on that? Can't we put caps like any American sport does? If you don't reach a certain grade, you will not rugby. Let's make rugby or sport a privilege to these boys. People believe boys will stop playing the sport. On the contrary, boys will read hard to try and get to that sport. That's done. Union, honest to God. How can you? And we used to attack a wall, man. Even Tonchu has done the same. Probably the next guy will also do. Why do they undermine schools rugby? Why does USRA have to suffer to get certain resources to do schools rugby? Then after, I don't support you when you say union should take over after boys leave school. No. Union, I mean, make an effort. Make an effort. Let the national team coaches, both 7s and 15s, appear
Go
on
watch
schools
these
league
games.
games.
Go watch.
Do coaching clinics.
Actually,
do
they should-
something.
They should
But
have an influence.
everyone just wait. They're going to wait to go to Legends Ochadondo on
The
the
final.
final, and then they will give out a trophy. A trophy for what?
And they want to speak.
And they will want to speak. Speak for what?
Speak about
Honestly,
what? Talk is cheap,
We
man.
really
Talk is cheap, man.
really undermine schools rugby, and it's annoying. I used to have issues with Valence, but talk to Valence after some time. When you discuss with Valence, man, he tells you the struggles they go through. Mr. Mutebi will tell you the same struggles, and then you wonder. It happened with Bleak. It has happened with O. It is happening with Tonchu. It's going to happen with the next person because no one cares about schools rugby. How we are milking a cow we don't feed. No, that I'm sorry, but Union needs to do something. I support you, Dungu here. Union has done
I'll
nothing
give you
for
a good
schools.
example. Ruben, you have something to say, I guess.
No, I was just going to say that I think that on that particular topic, what comes to my mind first is structures overall. And by structures overall, I mean that what happened to our university leagues, what happened to creating a second division that is actually credible.
Yes.
What do we do when we have the big clubs, what I like to call it hoarding all the good players instead of, because we say in our league that there is no such thing as maybe a loan.
Yes.
But how can we improvise to make our league better and in competitive wise, and also make sure that the talent is growing? What I understood by what he was saying is that, granted that your point was about someone being mentored by someone that has been there and done that. But even if someone mentors you and has done everything and you don't get game time, you're not going to get to even half his level.
Give me a club among the top clubs that's not giving game time.
All the top clubs don't give game time.
What I particularly try to mean, even you can even give Cobs as an example. I'm sure in your pipeline, you have about I like to use the number 10 position, 4 10s that are playing. If you have Joseph Aredo, who is in his prime, you have James Ijonga, who can cover. Then you have, is it called Gizamba? And I'm sure there's another boy under Gizamba. But remember, number 10s need game time to be better. But then again, the younger they start to play, the better they explore and open up their minds. So when will they wait for Aredo, Ijonga, and Gizamba to be done with rugby for them to get a chance?
Now, thank you very much. Very valid points. Sekate, that draws me to 2027 World Cup and its preparations. I've seen Kenya have now, late last week or earlier this week, they had about 84 players called up for trials from across all the teams. So Kenya is already looking far ahead, and they know, I mean, Dungu Joseph says 30 years old, in 2027 may not be able to play competitively because of the nature of our what? So you spoke about a few
because
players.
of the physicality.
100%. The deliverance reduces. So you look at players like, I'll give you a very good example. Looking at our national team current setup, I doubt if Joachim Kisano is still playing, he will be as efficient as Scott is, if he's at Scott's level anyway. You get what I mean? I'm giving you an example. So we are looking at the Aaron Tukeis, the likes of Josiah Sempeke, the likes of Kakula Frank, the likes of Roy Chizito at Impis. Those are the guys going to take us to the next what?
World Cup.
I mean, Kenya is already doing what? Well,
Preparing.
there is a Bates tournament, under 20 Bates tournament.
Where are we?
Soon, Ruben, have you heard anything about any trials or call-ups? Or even if it's there, like, the union is not telling us. I feel like they hoard so much information and expect us to dig in. This is it. Take it from us. We expect you to even just release a simple statement, a weekly statement, a newsletter. Okay? That's how communication works. Communication is the sending and receiving of messages to ensure effective understanding and
of the
feedback.
matter.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So if the feedback you're getting constantly is about you didn't give us the money, or the money was released, the money came late, I mean, get on top of the situation. Say, we've called up a number of 60 for the trials. And these are the names. They come from this and this club. They will be in a consolidated camp for 2 weeks. So that we know. Don't just release photos. You get what I mean? Hold us accountable.
One of the things that has always been happening, the expert that is said, is that we send emails to the chairman.
And they don't reply.
That bothered me this week because I'm like, that has been like the most
Create a website.
common thing that has gone around, that guys, you are a public entity. How are you showing your accountability? How are you controlling your narrative? That you, like, even the smallest thing, the national team is at the airport, take a picture, communicate. Whatever is happening
these
this
guys,
month,
let me tell you,
first
these guys
listen.
don't care about that.
First listen. If there is something happening this month, like you said, maybe you can tell people to subscribe to a newsletter. Maybe you can tell people
And
to
that's how you generate money.
communicate somehow.
Bagambe, man.
But
You are in marketing.
we do not use our platforms to the best ability. This week, a fan that came onto one of the Fat Cat's unpopular opinions and was like, they should pay Ginger Hippos for the sevens. But
Yeah.
Ginger Hippos had been paid, but there was no communication.
No, I'm in I'm on a WhatsApp forum where the communication passed to one of the few executive members of the Ginger Hippos leadership space. But that's not enough. You get what I mean? Put it out there.
That was
in
my
a
point.
statement.
When I were making noise on the space, I was reliably informed that the WhatsApp forum for communication and then the CRT were ably informed about these things that were demanding.
I mean,
for
me,
the
I don't
space.
even need
But
that
then I'm
information.
like,
Put it out
and I'm
there.
like, what is the harm of telling all of us? And two, to talk about Dungu's issue, and I want to give you an example of maybe take it back to schools. When I was in S5, S5, we figured that we as a team, after the Sonys had left, weren't as powerful enough and as strong enough to compete with Namilyango, which has always been our biggest issue. So we needed to get, and our captain, Ruvango, went to Mr. Mutevi and told him, sir, we need trials. We can talk to our parents. Can we use a holiday? And Mr. Mutevi said, what are you talking about? We said we wanted to go to Kenya
Golden Jubilee
for
birthday
a
on the
week,
16th of
play
April
3-4 games in
2023.
Kenya and come back home. But we get battered by those teams. What did Mr. Mutevi do? Mr. Mutevi wrote the communications, asked the Kenyan counterparts. They were willing. Went to the HM and the HM accepted. Our parents accepted. We were battered. We only won one game.
Guys, there is a
We
holiday
were
happening.
battered.
Easter
and,
holiday.
and,
yeah.
and let me finish.
And there is no rugby that will
Let me
happen
finish.
during
And
that
so
time.
we're battered. The issue here, Bath, sometime back, Azim under 20 had come to play us. Then they were relocated to Canada, something like that. There are countries here that we believe are better. We are better than. We have Rwanda across. We have Burundi. Why can't we take our under 20 team to play them? Their
Caesar,
national team.
Kenya
Be
is
beaten.
playing in the Curry Cup. Guys, let me give you this a good example. You see how there is a Kenya Cup? There is a Uganda Cup here. South Africans have now explored international tournaments like the United Rugby Championship, okay?
Yes.
But they do not want to lose the grit that comes with playing
Africans.
their real local tournament in South Africa. That's the Curry Cup. So what they are doing, there are clubs like the Greekers, there is the DHL Western Province, there is Pumas, name it. You get what I mean? And all these, some of the players in there cannot make it to the Stormers, to the Vodacom Bulls, to the Lions, but they need space to play. So what we need our union to do is to liaise, to seek development. I mean, I am eyeing 2027. If you're a serious country that wants to qualify for the World Cup, how are you building the cohesion and getting these set of players ready for that? What? Look at what Ireland are doing.
I
They
think
won under 26 nations Grand Slam. Okay, they are winning at the top. Whatever happens, I mean, they're doing something right.
what the union is not doing right is identifying and nurturing the talent.
Oh, they are terrible.
How? Because now look at schools league. Because the technicals by now would be attending such games
Yes.
to look out for the outstanding players. You may not have every boy selected, at least make sure every school's league, you have what we call a school select. Get a school select, take it to Kenya to play a school select in Kenya, take it to Rwanda to play a school select in Rwanda, take it to Zimbabwe to play a school select in Zimbabwe, if possible, because I believe our sponsors have the finances. They can even push them to South Africa
And guys, that's how
for
you
a game.
build.
And that's how you keep building the team.
Yeah.
So you keep them, you teach them your game plan right from down here, because I've been following New Zealand rugby.
Yes,
If you look at how New Zealand clubs play,
same brand across.
same brand of rugby up to the national team.
Yes.
So it's very easy, even for a player from a lower club, to fit into the national team, because they already have the culture of playing
Yes.
in them.
What's our style, Sekate, if
So
you're to
here
mention it?
in
And you played
Uganda-
for the national team.
We have no style of play.
We on vibes. I promise you, we on vibes. If
get it.
Tisano is fit, he will come, run around, shake off a few people. I mean, like,
So that's one thing.
Mm.
Second, the game has changed.
yeah, that's right.
The game is no longer just about the muscles. It has gone far beyond that.
Video sessions.
We need technical people to handle our boys. We need sports psychologists. We need sports therapists. We need well-trained people to take the boy through the gym and physical sessions. We need technocrats who have taken time to understand the game, not hand-picking people with no experience.
Mm.
You can't handpick someone who has no experience beyond the borders to lead the team.
But one thing I'll credit the union for is they've tried to advertise the available courses. At least
Yeah, they do.
for the referee courses, team
It's
management and all
They
that.
do.
It's
But
true.
there is more to be done.
Advertise the courses, it's true. After training them, what happens?
And you know, even the current referees now, you see there is a whole talk about the referees. This referee being pathetic. Recently, I saw one of the coaches talk about a derby and how a referee does not know
how to ref a derby.
Exactly. So, does a derby change
Yeah,
by the
bro,
word
Lord.
derby, or does the brand of rugby change? Okay, I mean, the principles should be the same across the board.
Because-
maybe Ruben, to see how to end this, I feel like we crucify the union too much, but they also maybe they want to bite too much, too big, and they can't show what they can. There's no need for us to do what Kenya is doing. By the time Kenya reached Curry Cup, the work that they've done, and let's face it, Kenyan rugby is supported much more than our rugby is. We're still breaking the barriers of
Okay.
government,
So,
of
Sekate wants to talk about a
See,
connection
the-
of failed to
the
exploit.
question comes back. How does Kenyan rugby get the support it's getting?
Look,
We have a neighbor, you have a rich neighbor across the fence, and you're dying of poverty here. You're either very myopic or not serious, because it's very easy to copy.
yes.
Look at the elections. No one trusts Ugandans. They were
copy
rugby
what
African
the
elections,
neighbor
and we
is
lost
doing.
terribly.
I'll bring Kenya. Kenya, their marketing of their rugby is intense,
It is.
starting from clubs. You find a club has, we call them public relations. Are they
Yes, yeah.
PRs.
the PRs? Yes. They have a well-established PR whereby they can communicate and get feedback from the fan base. What builds the sport? It's the fan base. If you don't have a fan base, then you can't build the game. Because also the sponsor comes in because of
Because
the
of
fan
fan
base.
base.
So-
Mileage.
No, these guys like quick fix things. Remember Africa Cup Sevens?
How
Boba
are
Gala
we
Chiva Kolera,
pushing
tweet
the
out
game?
here. How do we get collections? They're all about siphoning. Caesar said, milking a cow.
That they are not feeding.
Robin,
Everybody.
you had sevens in Fort Portal.
Yeah.
You saw the turn up. It was amazing.
Yeah.
But what's the follow-up
And
plan?
I was in Fort Portal. Actually, I coached that team. I've coached all over.
Wherever
I,
you've
I, I
traveled.
coached that team in Fort Portal.
Mm.
If you ask their manager, she's called, she's Nyangoma Nyakato. The twin, the lady,
Komsi komsa. Kulanga sambona.
the manager. She will tell you about me. I was there at that time. I was in Buhinga Hospital, and I gave them time. And all the boys who are playing for the Fort Portal team, I trained them before. But when a game is going to happen in Fort Portal, all radio stations, everywhere, people will get to know.
No, but you see also,
Up
Sekate,
to the palace.
we keep people out of our sport. We know we have this whole thing of these are the guys. You spoke about handpicking. You see, a guy is demoted from this position and they are given this position. You get? Why don't we get guys who can get us across the board? And I mean, I'm appreciating Kawowo Sports and NBS Sport as well for the work they've done. I hope they don't stop. And for NBS Sport, I believe you can get better. You're doing good already. There is room for improvement. Don't sleep on that. Kawowo, keep doing what you're doing. I mean, you are putting your stone on developing the sport already. But I believe Union now needs to look at other money-making ventures. Apart from replica sales, Ruben, what other income source do you think the Rugby Union has?
Do they sell replicas?
Ideally, as a sport, what we need to do is first develop the product and also then work on the partnerships. That's the first
I
two
think
things.
so.
How are we making this, like from our podcast just last week, how are we making ourselves all inclusive? Because
Exactly.
you need more people to come and want to watch the games, to want to be part of the sport. Then from there, you can be able to work on the partnerships. And then you can be able to work on the merchandising. You can be able to work on any other endorsements. You can be able to now develop the media side. By the way, that's a very important part as well. How are we also working on our media partnerships?
Yes.
Let's have live national
someone
team
did
training
mention-
sessions where people pay to attend.
Someone did
and-
mention that just imagine if at this point in time we had NBS broadcasting, Kawo broadcasting, Kratos broadcasting.
Even the Fat Cats
in
broadcasting.
a
And
sport that
commentating.
is not yet so professional, why are you barring one for the other? Let them all work.
Yes.
There's SMACK versus Ngo this weekend.
And we
This
don't
is
have
going to be
anyone.
covered.
I
How
hope
are we
someone-
Are we
planning
talking
to
about that game
create interest
Yeah,
for
we should.
schools league?
Are we talking about
How are
that
we
game
going
today?
to also not focusing so much on only the traditional sides? I'm happy to see teams like St. Peter's Nalia that just beat Marcos. I don't know how that happened.
And Marcos is Namiliango Annex. So what happens usually is when I'll say this, Sempeke, I've sent my regards, you know.
He's
But
the head of
usually-
Namiliango Annex.
Caesar. Anyway, guys, you see what happens is if you cannot make the academic cut to the next class, and you're a rugby player, oftentimes you'll find your way into the Marcos. They open their gates.
Is that
and-
what happened to Sepeke?
No, man.
No,
Anyway, guys,
I'm just disturbing them.
aside
No.
from all that,
Ajakuchi man.
let's now, as we start to wrap up, let's just touch on a few things. One, there's SMACK Ngo, as we had mentioned, which is happening. It was supposed to happen on Sunday. I do not know why they changed it. I know it is Namiliango Day. Namiliango is going to be making 121 years, but I really wanted it to be on that day with all the OBs and all that pressure. And I wanted to see how SMACK would
This
have
one I'll
handled
tell
it.
you. This one I'll tell you because I have
Hooliganism.
Do you think, because if Namiliango loses, Namiliango probably
He's
will
out.
not make it
Let me tell
out
you
of the
guys,
group
now,
for the
this
first
is
time in
this
a
is the
long
challenge
time
we always have.
or ever.
Mr. Bizimana was here on the podcast and told us about how he fell in love with the sport. His goes beyond just escorting the students to the venue where they are playing, making sure they are safe and not breaking any rules, and delivering them back to school. It goes, he was a father. He's a mentor, like Sekate is talking. He will monitor you on and off the field because he wants you, he wants the best of you.
Okay.
And times have changed so much that schools are so academic oriented. I'll tell you, in Namiliango, classes end at 4:40. Lately, they used to end at 4:40 during our time, and right now I think they end at 5 or 4:45 or something. Training can only start between 5 p.m. and is supposed to be done at 6 p.m. So you have basically an hour to to pass on the skills. You have to those guys and exit the facility. Going back to your point, the game was supposed to be held on Sunday because it's Namilyango Day. The OBs will be there. The parents will be there. Like, it will be a whole atmosphere. And also because the coaches, I understand, are involved with the club sides that play on Saturdays. We reasoned it out. And next week, I presume there will be a midweek fixture on a Wednesday. Is it a public holiday?
No, it's just
not.
midweek.
That's why I was actually surprised
So,
how we're having a
This is
midweek
the
game in
reasoning
high school.
of one of the patrons. He says the boys will be fatigued. Sekate, at a youthful 17, 18, do you think you'll be fatigued after having a game and having 2 rest weekends? I mean, in any way, you are training on a Monday or Tuesday.
Dungu, it was your call.
I think
So,
I think we've
and
lost
it's-
something there. We have lost a chance to
Enjoy the sport
live even enjoying, to show.
Yeah.
to the parents
To the
what it
parents.
means.
You know
What
what?
it means
guys,
to the
I felt-
to the school,
I
what it
felt
means to the
all of us.
OBs.
Kakulu will tell you off the podcast if you ever speak to him. Kakulu Ambrose, Coach Payo.
Coach Payo.
We sat. Man, I'm delivering so much. But bottom line is, everyone wanted the game to be
Actually,
held
shocked it
on
was
a
your
what? On a
decision.
Sunday. Okay? It's not. Don't say our.
Okay, the school's
The
decision.
No, not the
The patrons.
It's sad.
Anyway, you were still trying to finish a statement.
So it was a very good chance for an
For a
exhibition,
marketing.
for a
display.
marketing strategy. Because I believe among the parents who are going, among the OBs, the parents,
Yeah.
the sponsors that are going to attend that day, we could have gotten a chance to have a marketing, and an MD
Or even
a
the game
director
be streamed.
Sponsoring Namilyango
who
Rugby.
picks interest.
Or even the sport itself.
Yeah.
And when he picks interest, he takes it back. And that's how we get people coming in to sponsor new ventures. Because we believe some schools are lucky. I can say schools like SMACK, Namilyango, Wudo, they're lucky. They are core schools. So they have an OB foundation.
Oh,
The base is strong.
Mr. Moses Magogo is our OB.
So they have OBs who can single-handedly
Sponsor.
sponsor a team.
Yeah.
For, let's say, even a tournament, go for a tournament in Kenya. I love what I've seen. Go and play in Kenya. I love what I've seen. Let me talk to my
Buy more balls.
compatriots in South Africa. We see if we can organize. That's how the game grows.
Yeah.
And I feel we have lost a very big chance. Of course, it would have been a very difficult environment for SMACK, but now they seem to be telling SMACK, come and whip our asses.
I hope what that patron has done, he'll
He
and
won't
in
regret.
no way, he won't regret. That's a funny thing. And I know he won't. He will sleep
Because-
comfortably in his bed because he doesn't care about rugby. That one I'll always tell you.
No,
I
no.
feel so hard.
Maybe what to say about that match. I don't know. There's a lot. For a long time, we've had SMACK Namilyango matches, but there's a lot
At stake.
hinging on this game. There's a lot hinging on this game. Namilyango loses at home losing at home is already a bad issue. Now losing at home and then not leaving the group, something that never happened
But
in
I
my
think
duration.
this is stuff for dreams for SMACK.
Also,
It
also
is,
Take
but you see, let
Namilyango
me
out
tell you.
at home.
Let me tell you, that in itself is the stuff of dreams. But the problem here is dreams aside. Me, I don't care even if I get a draw. Dreams aside, Ruben, if Namilyango beats us, we are going to go on calculators. They need to lose to Hana, and they need to lose to Hana at a certain distance for
and let me
us
tell
to
you
go
guys,
through to
it's
the
going to
final.
happen. Don't count out Namilyango. As we Sekate in SMACK,
They're a
and
good
both
team.
teams are exceptional.
They're very exceptional
I'll speak for
team.
the SMACK fly half and fullback.
Yes.
These boys can identify the space. They can spot you. Now for Namilyango, it's a collective effort.
And they
I mean,
have a
there's
good
sorts
nine.
of
They have
brilliance.
a
have a
good
very
nine. Oh
brilliant
my
nine.
God.
The scrum
They
half
have a-
is good, but can get erratic at times. I hope on Saturday, and I'll be in Namilyango as early as 9 a.m.
So maybe you can tell the viewers exactly the timelines for the game.
So-
For those that want to attend.
So for the guys that want to, for the people that want to come to Namilyango on Saturday and support either Namilyango, the hosts, or SMACK, Games start at 10 a.m. and there are 3 age grade categories. Under 15 plays first. Their game comes on at 10 a.m. They play for about how many minutes? Each
30.
half?
30.
30 each half. So in an hour, so say 11:30, under 17 will be jumping on. And they also play for a similar kind of time. Guys, the prerequisite to getting into the school, for the gents, usually casual smart, okay? Just be plain, just like me. No funny words on the shirts, jeans and cam shoes. For the ladies, no jeans are allowed in.
Really?
Or if you have jeans, you can use a wrapper or a lesu around. So
Just
that
come in a dress, man.
like come in a dress and a very decent dress. Don't act funny, man.
Don't act funny.
Don't be the reason.
Don't
as
bring
to why-
Kara to chaps who have not seen
Yeah,
women.
don't strike guys with Kara, man.
Sekate.
Oh, guys, don't count out Namiliango.
No one is counting out
That's a
Namiliango.
derby.
That's
It's
going
a
to be
derby.
crazy.
It's
No one
a
is
big
counting out
game.
going to be
Namiliango.
crazy.
And definitely, from the Namiliango standpoint, we're looking forward to see them do something because it will be embarrassing.
I'm running.
It's going to be a good team.
I'm running onto that pitch.
going to be a good team.
I'm giving
A
my
good
all on
team,
Saturday,
sorry.
man.
Anyway, Sekate, just in a few seconds, I want you to describe for me. You are a doctor. How was it for you being a doctor and playing rugby? How did you balance that for people that have so many other commitments but still want to have a passion and a contribution for the game?
Oh, and I hope the uni guys are listening. If you are juggling uni and sports, listen in.
I think it's about knowing your time. First of all, medicine itself is a course that is very hectic. So being a hectic course, you have to go an extra mile if you really want to enjoy sports vis-a-vis academic ambitions. You have to go that extra mile. When it's time to rest, rest. When it's time to read, read. It's about respecting your timelines. You do not have to lose a second to something that was not planned for. A case in point, you find that you have an exam on Monday, but you have a game on Saturday. But how have you planned the whole week? Having that game still in plan. It's what it takes. So you should respect time. It's just about respecting time and commitments.
Yeah.
And then, just like rugby, teamwork. Teamwork. Campus is about teamwork. You can't know it all. You have to learn to use discussion groups. You cannot read everything. But if I give you a topic, give your friend a topic, the other a topic, then you meet for 2 hours. 30 minutes. We need you to discuss for us this topic, which we believe you also have a clue about. But you just need to wake up what you already know. So within those minutes, you discuss for us the topic, you hit the key points, then we can have a question that you take us through. And we see how to go about them. Apart from the practical side of it.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's about teamwork. Okay. It's about passion. And it's about discipline. Actually, the core principles of rugby apply directly to academics.
Discipline, respect, integrity,
Discipline,
passion,
respect,
solidarity.
integrity, all those come in. Because if you're not disciplined, it's hard. It's really hard. So you need to be disciplined, and discipline encompasses all. More so respecting time.
Okay. Then ideally,
I have
living.
trivia questions for him when you're ready.
Yeah, and also in the meantime, could you get the fixture so that we just get predictions for the club fixture as we prepare to close?
Okay.
But I just wanted to ask that from your time or our time when we were playing in high school,
Yes.
there were staunch affiliations to particular clubs
Yes.
with the high schools, like he had mentioned.
Yes.
But I understand you went to Mongas, but what influenced the decision of you going to Cobbs rather than, maybe let's say heathens, rather than going to pirates? What influenced your decision to go to Cobs?
I think
Which
it
is
was a very
predominantly in
it was a
Amiliango.
very simple decision.
Mm.
Why? Why did I choose Cobbs? First of all, when you're choosing something, look at your side first. It's natural to be selfish. What am I gaining from this relationship? I'm not gaining economically, but I'm gaining socially. Look at the people you're going to interface with as you journey through that club. How far can they take you? So I looked at the social capital
Okay.
of Cobbs.
All right. Yeah, that's an interesting. So, Dungu, as you prepare your questions, I hope we peruse through them a lot because we have used more time than we should have. Yeah, I think I'll let you go with that.
Yeah,
I
sure.
think, yeah.
Quick predictions. How do I do the predictions? Should I go around or Sekate's?
Pick
Sekate's.
a
Okay.
fixture, give it to someone.
Cool. First game will be at Makere, 2 p.m. Rams Hippos. Who are you giving it to?
Hippos.
Why?
I watched the game.
Against Cobs.
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Caesar, I'm just following the order. Rhinos versus Cobs at Legends, 3 p.m.
Cobs. 3 p.m.
Yes.
They are screening that much.
Looks like they'll screen it 3 p.m.
It's 3 p.m. It's
why?
broadcast.
Bonus point, no bonus point.
Bonus point first half.
Wow.
All right. How many tries by Rhinos entire game?
I don't know. I don't think they can score, but if they do one, if we mess up somewhere, but it will be because of us. But I don't think they'll score. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
that's the confidence you get when you are log leaders. Walukuba is hosting Heathens at 4 p.m. in Walukuba.
Heathens win, but it's not going to be as easy as everyone thinks. It's going to be a tough one.
We have someone on camera. Mongas Buffaloes Joel in Entebbe. 4 p.m. What do you think?
Mongas.
So he thinks Mongas will beat their visitors.
Yeah.
And the last game, Impis Pirates at Makere.
That's you.
You.
Guys, you see, I've always said this. Pirates will beat Impis. You see, and man, I'll get stick from Adraf is my guy. But facts, Impis are going to lose. And I don't see where they're going. Well, quick trivia. Sekate, if you are extremely hungry, you look hungry.
No, I'm not.
What's your go-to meal? Quick fix. Because I see the body of a shooter.
Do this.
I love meat.
You love meat? Is it a quick fix meal? Quick fix, man. Genjale kuluma. Chichi, afande. Tugambe.
Biscuits. I'm a biscuits.
Okay, quick fix, juice.
Juice.
Yeah,
What ingredients in the juice?
basically mango.
Mango.
Thick. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Trivia question 2. If you could be anything in this world aside from being an emergency medicine physician and a serving shooter in the armed forces, what would you be?
I would be a DJ.
What would your DJ name be? Have you ever thought about it?
I have them. I'm DJ Mess.
DJ
Mess.
Why? Why mess?
Food.
Food.
Mess means food. Then, that's interesting.
That's interesting.
Have you? Oh, okay. Trivia question number 3. If it weren't for rugby, which sport would you play?
Rugby.
What? Okay. Yobalongo, which sports would you want them to engage in?
Unfortunately, I lost one,
Oh,
sorry
Yeah.
about that.
but she is a girl. So actually, I
Please
don't
don't say
believe
rugby.
in stereotyping.
yes.
So she will make her choice.
Oh,
I'll be there to nurture her.
perfect.
That's great.
That's great.
Sekate, when you meet someone, first, what strikes you first? What do you pick in interest in?
Confidence. Do they look confident? I just. It's how.
The way
The
someone
aura, do they
carries
give
and
off
so
that
aura,
confidence?
charisma.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
confidence,
Vibe.
that charisma.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you very much for answering that trivia. And guys, I want to advise you guys. I don't know. I think you already know this because you are top lads. But personally, lately, man, if someone is not mentally stimulating, Bambi, if we can't take off, and I'll notice this in the first 6 seconds of our interaction. Ruben, you overhang with the informers. Chichi, you don't seem to be at par with me. Anyway, parting shots, Sekate. Parting shots, then we'll close it.
Okay.
Parting shots.
Any last things
Any
you'd like
last
to tell
words?
our viewers as we
Do you do
come
any
to the end?
business you can plug? This is the time now. It's the time you have to tell them, guys. If you're selling Glocks, let them come and
Hey, the military is
The
going to come
military is
for
going
us
to
here.
come for
No,
us here.
I'm joking, man. I'm
Tell them
joking.
you're joking.
Man.
Tell them you're joking.
I'm cracking jokes.
Oh, so unless my closing remarks, I do think we ourselves have a lot to do in order to get this sport to the level that we want it to be. So it's upon us. We need to criticize, critique, and push to have the game to the level that we want it. Basically, that's it. I'm not yet so much into business. I'm still being held into so much of academics and looking at also the type of work that I do. I'm not someone who is always on ground to have things running under my supervision.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any message for SMACK Rugby this weekend? And SMACK is out there.
The
watching,
SMACK is out there. Please come out. Come out guns blazing. Come to Namilyango. Come support the boys. I know the boys won't let us down. All in all, rugby wins at the end of the day.
Caesar.
Parting shots today. Let's give more time to schools rugby, and this is a shout out to all our sponsors. I'm talking about sponsors that are legally allowed to be in school. Talking about Crown Beverages. I'm talking about Renzori. I'm talking about Coca-Cola. I'm talking about Jessa. Anyone out there. Jibu Water, yes. I'm talking about anyone out there. Please take keen interest in rugby. The union kindly take keen interest in schools rugby. If we are to develop this sport or to stabilize it, we have to start from where it started. That's my particular. And the smackies out there who are going to watch the game in Namilyango, please be smart. I don't want Ngonia to use that as an excuse to deny us entry into their school. Please be smart.
Talk to Okot.
Come,
Okot specifically.
be smart. Come with IDs. If you reach at the gate, tell them you know Dungu Joseph and Payo.
100%.
They will allow you in.
My
and
parting
that
shots-
car redo.
Yeah, my parting shots, guys. Take care of yourselves. Don't forget to smear some Vaseline on your ankles. You have no business having ashy ankles, man. Smear Vaseline on your elbows, your ankles, jelly and all that. Ruben.
You guys. It's been particularly interesting. A contrast from last week, but still very insightful. Very, very interesting. Of course, we thank Paul Sekate for being here with us. So much we could have asked, but time is not our best ally, but perhaps we'll have him again. For those that you've been hearing it, so much rugby happening. Starts on Saturday for SMACK versus Ngo, not Sunday as usual. Lots of club rugby regardless. And make sure you follow us on our various social media platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube. For those that want to listen on the go, whether you're at work, whether you're traveling, we have our audio platforms. We have particularly the biggest ones being Google Podcast and Apple Podcast. That's pretty much it. But
Like,
be
share,
part
comment, subscribe.
of the Fat Cats family as we approach 1 year of content that we have been providing.
Are we releasing merch soon?
We shall communicate
Guys,
that in
we are
due
cooking.
time.
We are cooking.
Yeah, so guys, thank you for being a part of this one. See you next time. Cheers.